Hi everybody, we are Module 5, Nutrition and Hydration. My name is Brianna and I will introduce this module to you. Our presenters today are Kaylin Anderson, Dalton Bush, Emma Corley, myself, and Faith Lambertrick. Some of the learning targets today are going to be the major statistics, importance of nutrition and hydration, what is malnutrition, the My Plate method, and some available programs and resources you guys can utilize. So to start off, we are going to take a pretest. Some of the questions will include things like true or false. Proper nutrition is only about fueling a healthy body. What vitamin converts food into energy? So please take a minute to complete this 5-question pretest. We hope you did well. If not, you'll continue to learn about these topics in this module. This module will look at the importance of nutrition and hydration in pre-K to 6th grade. We'll also be showing methods that can be used in and out of the classroom to help get students involved in their nutrition and hydration journey.
Hi everyone, my name is Faith and I will be going over the training module portion of this presentation. This first page here just outlines some things that I'm going to be discussing, some important statistics, defining malnutrition, going over different micronutrients and their important roles, going over the My Plate method, discussing some different programs that are available, and then a few other things to consider when talking about nutrition. So first, I would like to go over some statistics just to kind of get the ball rolling and get our minds geared for thinking nutritionally. So I found that in Iowa, over 70% of adults were considered to be either overweight or obese. 15.3% of those aged 10 to 17 are considered obese in Iowa. In Iowa, those with higher incomes tend to consume fruits and vegetables more regularly. And then over 290,000 Iowan residents participate in SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. I will be going over what that is in more detail later, but I just wanted to put these things out there to get us kind of thinking about why nutrition is important. So next, I wanted to talk about what malnutrition is. There are kind of 3 main categories. The first one is undernutrition. Undernutrition includes wasting, stunting, and being underweight. Wasting is considered having low weight for your height. Stunting is having low height for your age, and being underweight is having low weight for your age. Next up is micronutrient-related malnutrition, which is basically going over having too much or too little of a certain vitamin or mineral, which can lead to different impairments. And we'll kind of discuss, like I said, different micronutrients in a moment. And then the last category of malnutrition deals with being overweight, obese, and having diet-related non-communicable diseases. So that kind of discusses the imbalance between energy consumed and energy expended. As we know, unhealthy diets and poor nutrition can increase the risk for different diseases such as cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, etc. So next up, these are just the first few nutrients I wanted to discuss. The first one is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is not only important for the production of red blood cells and DNA, but it is also especially important for nerve development. An impairment in vitamin B12 can lead to cognitive dysfunction such as memory loss, poor attention span, and perception. Children with higher vitamin B12 status are associated as having better cognitive performance, school performance, and developmental indexes. So next, some food sources for vitamin B12 include clams, fish, dairy, eggs, certain fortified breads, and fortified cereals. The next nutrient is iron. Iron does also play an important role in cognitive development, but it is additionally important for motor development due to its physiological relationship to blood and oxygen. Research shows that children with iron deficiencies are at an academic disadvantage. So with this too, the research showed that cognitive performance improves with iron therapy. So it's important that children are having enough iron in their diet to have good cognitive performance. Sources of iron include red meat, spinach, and broccoli, to name a few. The next few nutrients I want to discuss are vitamin A and vitamin D. Vitamin A, as we know, helps with our eyesight and our immunity, and sources include green and orange fruits and vegetables such as carrots, leafy greens, oranges, cantaloupe, and also eggs. And then vitamin D is not only important for bone development, but it also helps with muscle and nerve fiber development, as well as immunity to bacteria and viruses. Sources of vitamin D are salmon, eggs, mushrooms, and fortified milk. And then last up here, I wanted to talk about water and why it's important. Many people are more dehydrated than they think they are. Dehydration is less noticeable than one might think, as it's only really noticeable if it's severe. However, being dehydrated can lead to unclear and unfocused thinking, changes in mood, overheating, constipation, and even kidney stones. Water is important because it helps our body regulate temperature. It provides cushioning and lubrication for our joints and bones. It protects our spinal cord and different sensory tissues, and it is required for removing waste from the body. So, switching gears here, I just kind of wanted to go over the My Plate method, which I'm sure is not super new to anyone, but just in case, the My Plate method is a general guideline on how to construct a healthy and well-balanced meal. The meal should include fruit, vegetable, protein, grain, and dairy. 50% or so of the plate should consist of fruits and vegetables. The other 50% is proteins and grains. There should also be a serving of dairy. And then some tips for making a healthier option or healthier choices would be to make half of the grains whole grains, substitute for low-fat or fat-free dairy products, focus on incorporating whole fruits, focus on having a variety of vegetables and different protein sources, limiting foods that have added sugars, high sodium, and high saturated fat levels, and then making sure to eat an appropriate amount for your age, your sex, your height, weight, and activity level. Next, I'm going to talk about different programs that are available. So as I mentioned earlier, many Iowans participate in the SNAP program. SNAP is a federal program that provides nutrition benefits to low-income individuals and families. It is used at stores to purchase goods such as fruits, vegetables, proteins, dairy, breads and cereals, non-alcoholic beverages, and other snack foods. Can also be used to purchase seeds or plants that bear food. And it is aimed at having healthy options be more available for those families that are in need to help them move towards becoming self-sufficient. Another program that I hope you are aware of is the National School Lunch Program. This is a federally assisted meal program that provides nutritionally balanced, low-cost, or free lunches to children in school each day. Also, a program I hope you are familiar with is the school breakfast program. It is one that is available at Mills Elementary. This provides reimbursement to states to operate nonprofit breakfast programs in schools and residential child care institutions. Another program that would be beneficial is the Summer Food Service Program. It is another federally funded and state administered program. It reimburses operators who serve free, healthy meals and snacks to children and teens who are in low-income areas during those summer months when school is not in session. And then lastly, I just kind of wanted to talk about the food bank for the Heartland. During my research, I found that there are two locations, two pantry locations in Glenwood. The first one is at the Mills County Ministerial Pantry, and the other one is at the Mills County Storehouse. So those again are pantries available to the public. And then even going further on the food bank's website, there is an education tab that has different recipe suggestions, healthy eating habit tips, which kind of again goes over that My Plate method and how to read nutrition labels. And then there's also a portion on that education tab that discusses ways to stretch a budget so that one is able to incorporate healthier options into their diet. And then last up here, some food for thought, if you will, just a couple other last considerations I wanted to go over. The first one is going over fad diets. I especially wanted to talk about keto because I feel like that is one that has been really relevant lately. So I sat down with a friend of mine who is a registered dietitian to discuss what keto is and why there is a big misconception about it. So for those of you who may not know, the ketogenic diet is actually a last resort treatment for pediatric patients suffering from epilepsy and seizure disorders who are unresponsive to traditional treatments for that disorder. The diet is closely monitored in an inpatient setting, and blood ketone levels and blood glucose levels are checked frequently. This diet is not nutritionally sufficient for vitamins and minerals, and those must be supplemented and monitored closely as well. And that includes vitamins we discussed, such as B vitamins, vitamin D, iron, and then other vitamins and minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and zinc. Another important note is that patients who are being treated with this diet are eventually weaned off of it once their seizures are under control. So from a dieting sense, keto is really unnecessary for weight loss and it puts an avoidable strain on the body. The keto diet eliminates and restricts a lot of nutrient-dense foods and therefore reduces the intake of essential micronutrients. Even when performed correctly outside of a medical setting, the keto diet puts the body into a state of metabolic stress, which then increases strain on vital organs, and that can have long-term implications that aren't fully understood. They are still being researched today. So a lot of the weight loss that comes about from the keto diet is actually water weight and then being malnourished. So all in all, it's really not a healthy dieting strategy for those looking to lose weight. And then switching gears, I just wanted to touch base about eating disorders, different signs and symptoms, just because at the older elementary school age, it is really important to kind of look out for these things as their bodies are beginning to change. They're beginning to become more self-aware of the way they look. So just knowing the symptoms to look out for, I think, is really important. So to start, some of the physical signs and symptoms, obviously weight fluctuation. For anorexic people, that would be being below the minimally accepted weight for their age and stature. Bulimia may be a little bit harder to spot just because those suffering are usually close to normal weight or a little overweight. So some other physical symptoms to look for in that sense are having damaged teeth, damaged throat, esophagus, having bruised knuckles and calloused fingers from purging. And then this one maybe is a little bit more pertaining to a lab value, but having an electrolyte imbalance. Other physical symptoms include having difficulty concentrating, fainting, dizziness upon standing, feeling cold all the time. They may dress in layers to hide weight loss or to feel they need to do that to stay warm. They may also experience sleep problems. They may heal poorly, have dry skin, and thinning hair. And then on the emotional and behavior side, obviously the primary one is having an obsessive and unhealthy relationship with food. So those suffering from eating disorders may avoid certain foods or food groups. They may appear uncomfortable when eating with others. They might push around and cut up food to make it look as though they've eaten more than they really have. They might count calories, skip meals, or only eat small portions. They may have rigid rules and ways of thinking when it comes to food. They may be withdrawn from social interactions, have mood swings. They might have an excessive or rigid exercise routine. They'll have fear of gaining weight. They will have disturbances in their perceived body weight or shape. So some of those more body dysmorphic symptoms. They may also be suffering from other psychological disorders such as OCD, anxiety, depression, and perfectionism. So it's just important to be aware of these things as these children do age and their bodies change, because intervention is always more helpful the sooner it starts. So I just wanted to touch base on that with you all to have you thinking in that regard as well. And I will now turn it over to my colleague Kaylin for the breakout activity.
Okay, so for our breakout session, I want you guys to use the My Plate method that I have right over here in the graphic. I'm sure you've seen it before. I want you to draw and assess the lunch that you have planned or packed for today. I did this to catch you off guard. I don't want you to be idealistic about this. I want you to actually assess what you have. So once you've drawn it out, I want you guys to discuss the following questions amongst each other. So does it meet healthy nourishment standards? How might this be affecting your daily occupations? So that includes things like obviously teaching, but also lesson planning, etc. So the way that you're able to do these things directly affects the quality of your students' learning. So you want to make sure that you are also functioning at your highest capacity. And then what can you do to improve nutritional value? Then I also want you to reflect on the students' school lunches. So how might this be affecting their daily occupations like learning, play, and socialization, which are all very important benchmarks for children to be able to do. If they're not getting their proper nutrition, they're not going to be able to perform well with these things or in your classroom. So just some things to think about. Also, students who are free or reduced lunches. So I know when I went to elementary school, if you were on the free or reduced, you got a different lunch than the other students. So I don't know whether this would increase or decrease the nutritional value, but it should be noted that it could be different. And just think about how that might affect these specific students' occupations. And then also when they go home, if their parents aren't able to afford proper healthy food for them, they are going to enter this cycle of malnutrition and not being able to perform well in your class. And then just think about what you would want to be feeding your own children. I hope that was a valuable discussion. Thank you.
All right, now moving on to some ideas that you can use within the classroom to teach the kids about nutrition and hydration. So this first idea that I have at the top, Roman numeral 1, this is going to be my hydration idea. This one's going to go school-wide. I didn't break this one down into age groups or anything like that for hydration, just because I think it's a simple and effective way and doesn't need to be segregated into different grades and things like that. So this first one, rubber band and water bottle system, showing how much water each child drank throughout the day. It's as simple as it sounds. So just encouraging the kids to bring a reusable water bottle every day. And at the beginning of the day, the rubber band starts at the top, and as they move throughout the day and as they drink their water, the rubber band kind of works its way down. I think it's a good idea to maybe put times and things like that. You know, at this specific time, I should have drank this much water and things like that, obviously depending on the different water bottle sizes that a kid may bring. But an idea with this I had was just at the end of the day, if they reach the bottom of their water bottle or midday or things like that, maybe they get a tally or a sticker, and at the end of the week, if they hit a certain amount of ounces or water bottles drank or however you'd want to go about that, maybe they get a prize, extra recess time and things like that. I also thought this one would be kind of fun to do competitions like class versus class, grade versus grade, put it into perspective about how much we each drank throughout the day and things like that, and how much, you know, kindergarten drank this week versus first grade and things like that would be kind of fun. And also like implementing some sort of reward system just to promote hydration and encouraging them to drink water throughout the day. Okay, now moving on to my nutrition ideas for pre-K through second grade. This one's simple also, so choose a letter of the week. Each week, taste and discuss healthy foods which start with the letter chosen of that week or day. So week 1 could be letter A, moving through the alphabet. This could last a while, which I think would be kind of effective and kind of fun for the kids. So for week 1, telling the kids, bring a snack that starts with the letter A, try and obviously make it healthy and things like that. And just seeing like the ideas of healthy snacks that start with that letter and introducing the kids to new foods and what their friends may be having that start with the letter A that differ from them, kind of just encourages them to maybe go home and be able to try these new foods that their friends may like. And then you as a teacher can also just introduce obviously foods that somebody didn't bring that start with letter A that could be healthy and tasty for those kids to have. Moving on to third and fourth grade, so having a themed tasting day. So this one's similar. So offer different kinds of healthy foods to try on special theme days. For example, on Healthy Apple Day, offer green apples, red apples, dried apples, applesauce, and canned apples. My idea behind this one was for Healthy Apple Day, or I thought of like broccoli when I was doing this, is just being able to introduce new ways to prepare food. Not always having to eat like raw vegetables and things like that. That food can be eaten in different ways, healthy and taste good, I think is good. And just kind of getting the kids to try foods that they haven't around their peers rather than being at home around their parents and things like that. I think being around friends and seeing maybe other peers within the classroom eat these healthy foods would kind of inhibit them to be able to try them a little bit more. Just seeing friends and stuff like that, like these maybe scary foods that they've had a bad experience with in the past. And then my last one for 5th and 6th grade for a nutrition idea would be planting herbs and vegetables throughout the classroom and things like that, maybe pairing up in groups, and each group gets this one plant. And so this will encourage kids to water and care for their plants. So obviously adding in a bit of responsibility for these older kiddos and kind of showing them the process of where their food comes from and how it grows. Some easy plants, I say easy, hopefully easy, that could be planted within the classroom and taken care of, could be tomatoes, peas, beans, snow peas, and herbs. I think this one's good because it can show the kids kind of where their food comes from, like I said before, and being able to maybe go home and do these things and have a garden of their own and being able to plant and eat foods that they've made themselves, or maybe supporting local farmers and things like that, farm to table type topics that could come up from this. I think would all be relevant to planting food and being able to eat it within the classroom and things that they've taken care of and had the responsibility of growing throughout the year.
As discussed earlier in this module, nutrition and hydration play an essential role in daily life. Statistics indicate a need for greater understanding of nutrition and hydration, as well as further implementation of nutrition and hydration into everyday life. The main challenge the demographic at this school faces is that of obesity. Economic status can play a role in nutrition, with higher income families tending to eat in a more nutritious manner. Malnutrition addresses undernutrition, lack of vitamins and minerals, and obesity. Proper nutrition and hydration are key for normal growth and development, as well as learning in your students. Key vitamins to incorporate into the diet are vitamin B12, vitamin A, vitamin D, and iron. The body is made up of 70% water, and hydration helps your body regulate temperature, cushion joints, and protect sensitive tissues. Dehydration can cause headaches, among other negative effects, which have an effect on learning and focus capabilities. The MyPlate method provides a guide for what an average meal should consist of in order to eat the correct nutrition. In summary, this plate should include fruits, grains, with half of those being whole grains, vegetables, proteins, and limited amounts of dairy. Nutrition and hydration are vital components of your students' growth and development, as well as for your own personal health. Linked in this slide is a parent pamphlet reviewing basic components of the MyPlate method and information on available resources, as mentioned earlier in this module, for parents to access for their student. The pamphlet also encourages parents to send their student to school with a reusable water bottle. This can be used to encourage your student to drink water, move the rubber band, and refill to repeat. For younger students, incorporate education of healthy foods by using a letter of the week. For middle grades, 3rd through 4th, work with other team members in your grade to brainstorm different themed tasting days throughout the school year. For older grades, 5th through 6th, partner with another class and work on planting a garden in an empty space on the edge of the playground around your school. Share the responsibility of watering, weeding, and caring for the garden between all of the students in your class. You can even try to coordinate with younger grades to have those classes use the produce from their garden for their tasting days. In looking into implementing strategies of nutrition and hydration into the classroom, one simple way to start today is encouraging your students to eat fruits and vegetables at lunch. Before you start the lunch period, address your classroom and challenge them to eat fruits and vegetables. During or after the lunch period, ask your students what their favorite fruit or vegetable they ate at lunch was. Additionally, take time for water breaks throughout the day today as you are teaching. One way to incorporate this would be to encourage students to drink water and move their rubber band during each transition between subjects or activities during the day in the classroom. A challenge to incorporate nutrition into this week is to send home the provided template, also linked in this slide, for your students to keep track of their meals at home. We have provided 2 separate templates, one for younger and one for older students to take home. Each of the 2 templates provides a space for the students in your class to track the fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy they are eating in a fun and age-appropriate manner. Ask your students to work with their parents to complete the chart during the week and return it at the end of the week for a prize. We will now move into a time to complete a post-test. You will have a few minutes to complete the post-test questions. We hope this module has broadened your knowledge of nutrition and hydration and how it is important for both you and your students. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your day, and we hope these ideas can help you implement nutrition and hydration into your classroom.